Requirements instructions. Pump. If a pump is installed after the well is completed by the driller, please provide as much of the requested information as possible. Please also indicate whether or not the well was disinfected upon completion. Comments and well driller statement. If for any reason a driller cannot provide the critical information on the report, the driller must provide a reason and justification in the comments section of the report. Also note other information including construction activities, placement methods, additional materials used, problems encountered, extraordinary circumstances, etc. Well driller statement. The well driller statement section must be entirely completed and include the printed or typed driller company name, license number, signature of the licensed well driller, and the date of signature. Official pump installation report. Submittal of a start card is not required for pump installation and repair work in a well. However, an official pump installation report must be submitted after completion of the regulated activity. Unlike well logs, blank pump logs are readily available from any of our offices. There is no pre-printed info on the pump log, which means the blank logs can be copied. Pump logs are also available online in a PDF format and can be found on www.waterrights.utah.gov forms page and well page. The licensee must complete the form, detailing all aspects of the regulated activity, then sign, date, and return it within 30 days of activity completion. Only information that is known or that was conducted by the licensee needs to be recorded on the pump log. Every blank of the pump log does not need to be filled out if you did not do that specific activity on the project. In an effort to maintain the quality of pump logs submitted to our office, we have implemented a rigorous review policy. The information listed on the pump log is important in that it provides an official record of the well, which becomes a part of the legal water right record. And this information is utilized by many, including the well owner, the state engineer's office, governmental agencies, researchers, consultants, and many others. The pump log also assists the water right staff in determining if a well is constructed and equipped properly, according to the minimum construction standards set forth in the administrative rules for water wells. Thus, it is critical that the pump log be filled out as completely as possible. Appendix. Appendix 3, Well Drilling Reporting Requirements Instructions. Water right staff review each incoming pump log for deficiencies or improper information. If a pump log is found to have data missing or is incorrect, the original log will be returned to the licensee attached to a cover letter describing the deficiencies. The pump log will not be considered officially received until it is corrected and returned to the Division of Water Rights. Moreover, the 30-day deadline for submittal of the official pump log will remain in effect, even though the pump log was returned to the licensee. An example of the official pump log form is attached. An original official form will always have a green band on the bottom with the words pump log printed in the green band. The following paragraphs provide some guidance on how to complete the well log form. Well identification. List the water right number or non-production well number if known. Also list the change, exchange, or temporary water right number if no or applicable. Owner. List the well owner's name and address. Well location. List the physical street address of the well. If available and known, list the point of diversion in Utah Division of Water Rights Public Land Survey System. If global positioning system coordinates are available, list on the pump log in either UTM or latitude-longitude. Also identify the map datum from which the coordinates were based. Existing well details to the extent known and available, list as much of the existing well detail as possible. Pump installation details, based on the activity actually conducted by the licensee, complete this section to the extent possible. If an activity under this section was not performed by the licensee, then mark it as NA or NP. In the comment section, note other information not otherwise specified or asked for in this section, problems encountered, extraordinary circumstances, etc. Licensee statement. The licensee statement section must be entirely completed and include the printed or typed licensee company name, license number, signature. Appendix 3, Well Drilling Reporting Requirements Instructions of the licensee, and the date of signature. Well abandonment. When the abandonment of a well is not associated with the installation of a new well, a start card is not required to perform the work. However, prior to abandoning a well, a licensed driller must notify the Water Rights Office of the intent to abandon. The Water Rights Office will then send the driller a blank well abandonment report. The driller must submit the abandonment log to the Water Rights Office after completion of abandonment. When the driller notifies the Water Rights Office of an abandonment, she should provide the office with as much information as possible, including the state well number, the well owner name and address, and the well location to be completed, and return to the office within 30 days of completion of abandonment activities. The abandonment log is similar to the well log and must include the following information. 1. Well identification. This section is completed by the Division of Water Rights. This space will be pre-printed by the office with the appropriate number such as a water right number, provisional well number, monitoring well number, etc. If no information is available for the well, then this space will be marked as unidentified abandonment. 2. Owner. This section is completed by the Division of Water Rights. However, the driller can complete the contact person engineer if known or applicable. 3. Well location. This section is completed by the Division of Water Rights, but the driller should verify that the location where he is drilling is actually the location on the log form. If the actual location differs from that of the approved well location, the driller should note any changes on the log if the driller knows the changes to be accurate. The driller can also provide location description information if available. 4. Existing well details. The driller should make every effort to learn the 3. Well drilling reporting requirements instructions. Construction details about the well that is to be abandoned in order to properly plug the well. This information can generally be obtained from the well log if available. Complete this section as best as possible with the available well information and use it to guide you in the proper selection of plugging materials and procedures. 5. Abandonment details. List the date the well was abandoned. List the reason for abandonment. Describe how the well was abandoned, including the seal placement method and procedures, amount of casing screen removed, removal of pump piping or other debris from the well, termination of the casing at the surface, problems encountered, and any other pertinent information. In the table, describe the sealing materials used for abandonment. Examples of seal material descriptions include neat cement grout, sand cement grout, EnviroPlug bentonite grout, Aquagord bentonite grout, Quick grout, bentonite grout, BH bentonite grout, Volclay bentonite grout, 3/8 whole plug bentonite chips, EnviroPlug medium coarse bentonite chips, Volclay chips, Setco crumbles, 3/8 Volclay tablets, 3/4 prime plug bentonite chips, etc. Be as specific as possible in the description and type of sealing material. Be sure to note the quantity of seal material used per depth interval. Also note the mixing information in the grout weight column when neat cement grout, sand cement grout, or bentonite grout is used. This column can be left blank when unhydrated bentonite, such as when bentonite chips, pellets, tablets, or granules are used. Note in the checkbox if the abandoned well is being replaced with a new well and describe the location of the new well relative to the plugged well. 6. Well driller statement. The well driller statement section must be entirely completed and include the printed or typed driller company name, license number, signature of the licensed well driller, and the date of signature. Appendix 3. Well drilling reporting requirements instructions. Driller summary reports. On a regular basis, the Water Rights Office will send to each licensed driller pump installer in the state a driller summary report. This report lists all wells in a specified time period for which a start card and/or well log pump log has been received at the Water Rights Office. The report provides information on the well owner, well type, well approval number, start card receive date, work begin date, well log receive date, well completion date from well log, applicant card receive date, applicant card well completion date, discrepancies between completion dates and the logs received 30 days after completion date. These reports are used by the Water Rights Office to determine if a driller has met reporting requirements. Alternatively, a licensee can view his/her log record by going to their page on the Water Rights website at. Remember, your driller's license cannot be renewed if there are any outstanding well logs or other problems and discrepancies with an individual driller's reporting record. If problems or discrepancies exist in the summary report as a result of errors by the water rights staff, renewal of the driller's license will not be halted or delayed, so it is critical that each driller review the report and point out any problems. Please review the status reports when you receive them and reconcile with your own drilling records to ensure that the information is complete and accurate. If you find any mistakes or problems with your status report, please notify our office at 538-7416. It will be easier to correct mistakes in the report early, so that during the license renewal process, delays in license renewal due to incorrect start card and well log information can be avoided. Appendix 3. Well drilling reporting requirements, instructions, example start card, and applicant card appendix. Applicant card for monitor well. 0459013 M000. Owner applicant signature date. Important. This card must be completed, signed, and returned by the well owner applicant as soon as the well is drilled by a licensed Utah water well driller. Owner applicant name: Jim Goddard. Mailing address: 1594 West North Temple 220, Salt Lake City, UT 8410101 City, Salt Lake City. Well activity: new 801-538-7314, $801 W327 from any core. 801 T15 R2M SLBNM Northing 4,508,379 Easting 427 from 8,327 free. Name of drilling company licensee. Complete. Sign and return this portion upon final well completion. 100. Not give this card to licensed well driller. You must return it. State of Utah Division of Water Rights phone: no 801-538-7416, fax no 801-538-7467. Start applicant card instructions. First, for each well, you must give a driller card to the licensed driller with whom you contract to construct the well. Second, it is your responsibility to sign and return this applicant card to this office immediately after completion of the well. Caution: there may be local health requirements for the actual siting of your well. Please check with the proper local authority before construction begins. See the enclosed sheet addressing construction information. 3. Well drilling reporting requirements, instructions, example start card with online submittal capability. Appendix. Appendix 3. Well drilling reporting requirements, instructions. Well drillers report. State of Utah Division of Water Rights. For additional space, use additional well data form, and attach. Well identification: non-production well, 0459013 M000. Owner: now any Jim Goddard, 1594 West North Temple, $220, Salt Lake City, UT 84,100 Well location: note any Lunds, 5027 from the NE corner, and 1W300 start date, completion date, check all that apply. New repair, deep and clean, replace. Public nature of use if a replacement well, provide location of new well. Feet north-south and feet east-west of the existing well. Depth from borehole to diameter. Well log depth, Tawamicron from water static water level drilling method. Consolidated SM, LMN, SBY, LNWR, or gravel. Other sample rock type drilling fluid description and remarks. Method of water level measurement. Date, water level point, to which water level measurement was referenced. Height of water level reference point, above ground surface. Feet flowing? Yes, no, if flowing. Capped pressure. Elevation PSI, feet temperature degrees, C of. Appendix 3. Well drilling reporting requirements, instructions. Construction information: depth from to casing, depth casing type wall, and material chad deck, nominal diam screen, scaben blot set per size or per length, from to perforation, screen team, open bottom screen type or number of Grudeville. Wellhead configuration. Casing joint type: was a surface seal installed? Yes, no. Surface seal material plascescent method: depth of surface seal perforator used, feet drive shoe? Yes, no. Access port provided? Yes, no. Well development and well yield test information. Date, method, yield units: check 1 GPM CPS drawdown time pumped, pump description. Approximate maximum pumping rate. Comments: horsepower pump intake depth, feet well disinfected upon completion? Yes, no. Description of construction activity, additional materials used, problems encountered, extraordinary circumstances, abandonment procedures. Use additional well data form for more space. Well driller statement: this well was drilled and constructed under my supervision according to applicable NILs and regulations. And this report is complete and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Name: well drilling, signature date, license number 523. Appendix 3. Well drilling reporting requirements, instructions. Well drillers report, additional data form. State of Utah Division of Water Rights. Well identification: non-production well, 0459013 M000. Owner: NY Jim Goddard, 155913 more. Hashtag 220 Salt Lake City, UT 84114. Contact person: engineer page. EE of D8. Well location: note any changes. 801 W327 from the NE corner of section 21, township 18, range 2W, SLBNM. Location description: well log depth from to water in consolidated silt deso borjas rock type. Color description and remarks. Well log. Appendix 3. Well drilling reporting requirements, instructions. Construction information: depth casing. Depth from to casing type, and wall thick, nominal diam material aid, from to screen perforations, and slate screen 440 open bottom screen type. Remo C. Depth surface seal, interval seal, filter pack. Packer information: seal material, filter pack from to and packer type, and description: quantity of material used of applicable grout density. Comments: well driller statement: this well was dead and constructed under my supervision, according to applicable rules and regions, and this report is complete and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Name: Zimmerman, Mike. Well service license number 527. Signature date. Mention report: State of Utah Division of 4060 box, pump in, SS0, SLC, 84630001467. Beneficiation owner info, well location, physical street address, feet from the corner of SLBNM USBNM point of diversion, north-south feet, well location, township range. GPS. Is a well driller's report available? Yes, no. Well depth feet, well diameter inches, provisional monitor, existing well details or nature of use. Casing type, screen filter pack, steel perforations. Yes, no. Other details. Stock industrial stainless steel PVC, open pipe, commercial municipal fiberglass, ABS, SNR, other screen perforation, interval depth of surface seal. Pump installation details, sample type of installation, new, replacement, repair, other date of installation, type of pump, submersible, line shaft, jet, other pump manufacturer, number of stages, height of casing above ground surface, pump size, pump model riser discharge pipe type size, shaft size, pump capacity, pumping water level, artesian flow, pitless installation, yes, no manufacturer, pump intake depth below top of casing, static water level, shut-in head for flowing wells, drawdown at end of test, model, pitless type, pitless adapter, pilot unit, screw-on, welded compression method of cutting hole in casing depth of pitless, test pump duration, pump testing, no, test pumping rate, water level measurement method, airline, electric sounder, steel tape, other discharge measure method, baler, bucket barrel / stopwatch current, airlift, gauge, meter, orifice, volume, weir flume, other downhole camera survey, yes, no water quality sample taken, yes, no well and pump works disinfected upon completion in accordance with R655-4, yes, no comments by installer. Licensee statement: this pump work was conducted under my supervision, according to applicable rules and regulations, and this report is complete and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Name, person, firm or corporation, print or type, license number note. All pump work shall be performed in accordance with the provisions of the State of UMK Administrative Rules of Water Walls. Pump log, signature of licensee date, Appendix 3, well drilling reporting requirements instructions, well abandonment report State of Utah Division of Water Rights. Well identification non-production, well, 04,590,130 owner Oregon, Jim Goddard, 1594 Nest North Temple, hashtag 220, Salt Lake City, UT 84114 contact person engineer Win, 30,012 well location. S, 801N 327 from the NE corner of Section 21, Township 15, Range 2N, SLB and M. Location description. Existing well details. Is a well driller's report available? Yes, no feet, well diameter, commercial, municipal, monitor, other fiberglass, ab screen, perforation, interval, SNR, well depth, nature of use, domcall casing type, steel opening, screen perf, PVC or of iron filter pack. Yes, no depth of surface, seal, state water level, feet, howing well. Yes, no other des. Inches or feet. Abandonment details, date of abandonment, Renfe abandonment, sample method of abandonment, include a description of the seal placement and progressing scred removed, PEMP piping removal, W emanation of casing at the surface, problems encountered, and other pertinent. Depth from to abandonment material details, abandonment material, used quantity of material used, grout density, location of a new well as well driller statement, FT north-south and FT east-west from the abandoned well. Name well drilling, this well was abandoned under my supervision, according to applicable rules and regulations, and this report is complete and correct to the best of my knowledge, and B523 signature license NE date abandonment. Appendix 4 continuing education program overview. Introduction and objectives. During each 2-year renewal cycle, licensed well drillers and licensed pump installers are required to earn at least 12 continuing education credits by attending training sessions or participating in ongoing education sponsored or approved by the state engineer in order to renew their license. Participation in ongoing education allows licensees to stay informed of regulatory, industry, and technological advances. Combining field experience with continuing education enhances a licensee's knowledge and abilities. The primary objectives of the Utah Driller Pump Installer CE program are: E. Increase protection of groundwater resources. E. Increase compliance to well rules. E. Develop a minimum level of confidence among water well contractors. E. Increase protection of the well owner. E. Increase public confidence in the contractor. Utah CE requirements. The following is a summary of CE program requirements in accordance with the well rules. E. Licensed well drillers and pump installers must earn 12 CE credits during a 2-year renewal cycle in order to renew their license for the next licensing cycle. E. 1 hour of training or education will equal 1 CE credit, unless otherwise designated specifically by the state engineer. A 45-minute class will equal 3/4 a CE credit, and 30 minutes will equal 1/2 a CE credit. This requirement also applies to education taken out of state. E. During a licensing cycle, the 12 required CE credits must consist of credits earned from at least 2 separate classes or topics. E. Licensed drillers, pump installers must complete a state engineer-sponsored administrative rules for water wells review course or other approved rules review once every 4 years. E. A licensed driller who teaches a CE course will receive credit on a 3:1 ratio up to 5 credits for every hour of training. For example, if a driller teaches a 1-hour course, he will receive 3 CE credits for his effort. E. CE credits cannot be carried over from one licensing cycle to another. E. CE courses must be approved by the state engineer's office. 333. E. Licensees are responsible for obtaining and maintaining the necessary. Appendix 4, continuing education program overview. Documentation for each course attended and submitting the documentation with their license renewal application each renewal year. CE credit approval process. The state engineer approves training courses appropriate for CE credit based on recommendations from the CEC. The state engineer's office maintains a list of approved courses. This list will be updated regularly as course information is furnished to the state engineer's office. This list is periodically sent to licensed drillers throughout the year and is also posted on the Division of Water Rights webpage at www.waterrights.utah.gov/wellinfo. It is up to the licensee to decide what, when, and where to take the appropriate training. Training education courses should relate to occupational health and safety, business and office skills, interpersonal skills, technical aspects of the well industry, or other subjects that will enhance business, technical, or regulatory knowledge, skills, and abilities. A licensee can look for training from members of professional associations, government agencies, private businesses, or individuals. A licensee can choose from the attached list of courses. However, a licensee is not limited to taking the courses that are on that list. Drillers can look for training opportunities in trade magazines, training flyers or brochures, advertisements in newspapers or mail, and courses offered at universities. Coursework can be pre-approved by the state engineer, so that a licensee will know if credit will be granted for a class not on the approved list, or a licensee may choose to take the course first, and then ask for CE credit approval. However, there is no guarantee that the course will be approved. The following is a list of topics that relate to wells that would be applicable to the CE program. This list is by no means comprehensive and is for information purposes only. Appendix 4, Continuing Education Program. Overview well drilling related education topics. Rule understanding water rights, process geologic principles, groundwater principles, cuttings identification and description, map reading, and GPS. Use water right website. Use aquifer, testing well, disinfection issues well, rehabilitation issues, water quality and geochemistry, surface seals, groundwater contamination, drinking water rules, Reg. And local water issues requirements, Reg. And local hydrogeology well abandonment. New technology. OSHA certifications, MSHA certifications, first aid, CPR drilling, MUDS pump systems, compressors, rigs, bits, drill pipe, collars, stabilizers, safety screens, and perforations, explosives, horizontal drilling, hydrofracturing, MW construction, and environmental regulation, contracting, and business issues, client relationships, geophysics, and TVing, water treatment technology, rig, maintenance, water quality sampling and analysis, well development, welding. Blue Stakes Training. Requesting approval for a training course. It is a good idea to ask about course approval before taking the class if it is not already on the approved list. There is a form for a licensee to use when asking the CEC to evaluate a course they wish to attend. A licensee is asked to provide information on the course content, instructors, and course length. The form, called the Provider Course Approval Form, is attached with this overview and should be used by the licensee when submitting a course to be evaluated. An instructor or provider may also ask for state engineers' prior approval of a course. It would be useful to publicize that information when advertising the course. The same attached evaluation form can be utilized when making this request, obtaining, maintaining, and submitting training records. In order to receive credit for a course, the licensee must obtain a record of course completion and attendance from the course instructor provider. This proof of attendance can consist of certificates, transcripts, diplomas, and attendance rosters. If a course provider does not offer this type of documentation, the licensee may use. Appendix 4. Continuing Education Program Overview. The attached documentation form has proof of class completion. If this form is used, it must be completed entirely and be signed or stamped by the instructor provider. It is the responsibility of the licensee to keep track of education records. Licensees must provide these proof documents at the time of renewal application. Special conditions and appeals. Drillers pump installers who do not renew their licenses but who intend to renew within a 24-month period are also required to earn 12 CE credits each 2-year licensing cycle. If a license is left renewed for more than a 24-month period, a driller pump installer must reapply for license regardless of the number of CE credits earned. A licensee may appeal the decision of the state engineer to disallow a course approval or credits. An appeal must be made in writing and directed to the state engineer. The CEC and state engineer will evaluate appeals and hold a hearing if necessary on a case-by-case basis. Licensees who are not able to get the required continuing education credits because of a hardship situation may apply for an extension of time in which to acquire the required credits. The CEC and state engineer will review the merits of each situation and make a recommendation on whether or not the extension should be granted. Hardship claims must also be made in writing and directed to the state engineer. For more information, copies of any of the documents referenced in this program overview can be obtained on the Division of Water Rights webpage at www.waterrights.utah.gov/wellinfo. or by calling the Well Drilling section at 801-538-7416 or 801-538-7314. Any written correspondence related to the CE program should be routed to the attention of Well Drilling section and can be faxed to 801-538-7467 or sent to Utah Division of Water Rights P.O. Box 146,300, SLC, UT 84114 to 6300. Utah Well Driller and Pump Installer Continuing Education Provider Course Approval Form. Provider information, provider name, provider address, provider representative, daytime phone number. Please provide a brief description of the course and how it pertains to well drilling, anticipated starting date and duration. Of course, what type of documentation of completion will be provided to the driller. Instructor information, instructor qualifications, representative signature, date note. Please return completed form to Utah Division of Water Rights, ATTN, Jim Goddard at P.O. Box 10460303030,000 to 6300 or fax to 801-536,300 and 4338. Licensee name, course title brief, license hashtag, Utah Well Driller and Pump Installer Continuing Education Documentation Form. This form, when completed correctly, can be used in place of other forms of CE credit documentation to be submitted with CE credit summary form and attached to the license renewal application. Drillers may make as many copies of this form as necessary. Licensee name, license DOBA, course title, brief course description, course sponsor, course instructor, course date, duration of training attended by driller, verification of attendance, licensee signature date, Utah Well Driller and Pump Installer Continuing Education Documentation Form. Form, when completed correctly, can be used in place of other forms of CE credit documentation to be submitted with CE credit summary form and attached to the license renewal application. Drillers may make as many copies of this form as necessary. Course description, course sponsor, course instructor, course date, duration of training attended by driller. Verification of attendance, licensee signature date. 5. Helpful contact and reference information, government agencies. Utah Division of Water Resources, 801-538-7230. Utah Division of Drinking Water, 801-536-4200, www.drinkingwater.utah.gov. Utah Division of Water Quality, 801-536-4300, www.waterquality.utah.gov. Utah Geological Survey Groundwater Program, 801-537-3300. Local health departments and district engineers. USGS Utah Water Science Center, 801-908-5000. Natural Resources Conservation Service in Utah, 801-524-4550. Utah Department of Agriculture and Food Water Optimization Program, 801-538-9905. Well Driller Pump Installer Associations. Utah Groundwater Association, www.utahgroundwater.org. Mountain States Groundwater Association, www.mountainstatesgroundwater.com. National Groundwater Association, www.ngwa.org. Well Owner Information. American Groundwater Trust, well-owner.org. www.wellowner.org. Water Systems Council. Miscellaneous information. GeoExchange, www.geoexchange.org. International Ground Source Heat Pump Association, www.igshpa.org. The Groundwater Foundation, www.groundwater.org. Blue Stakes of Utah, 800-6624111, www.bluestakes.org. Utah Geological Association, www.utahgeology.org. American Society for Testing and Materials, www.acdm.org. American National Standards Institute, www.ansi.org. National Sanitation Foundation, www.nsf.org. American Water Works Association, www.audiobook.org. Rural Water Association of Utah, www.rwau.net. Utah Water Users Association, www.utahwaterusers.com. Appendix. Figure 1. Typical construction of a drilled well with driven well casing water. Sanitary, ground surface tight well cover minimum stick-up seal material shall consist of neat cement grout, sand cement grout, bentonite grout, or unhydrated bentonite. Ground surface must slope away from well. Surface casing or open, borehole must be at least 4 in diameter larger than the well casing in order to facilitate seal placement. Surface casing must be removed during seal placement. Casing must be centered in well bore to allow the seal material to evenly surround the well. The minimum depth of surface seal is 30 feet. Seal must be placed from ground surface to a minimum depth of 30 feet, and at least 5 feet into a confining unit above the water production zone in unconsolidated formations stratified with clay, or at beast 5 feet into competent consolidated formation. At least 2 annular space, required for seal material, placement. Permanent well casing. Unperforated casing must extend at least to a depth of 30 feet and below the lowest anticipated pumping level in permeable, unconsolidated, unconfined formations, at least to the bottom of the clay or confining formation, above the aquifer in unconsolidated formations, stratified with clay, and at least 5 into competent consolidated dormation, not to scale well screen, slotted casing, perforated casing, or open bottom. Appendix 6 Example well schematics. Figure 2. Typical construction of an oversized and/or gravel-packed well without surface casing watertight. Sanitary well cover gravel filter pack feed pipe may be installed through surface seal if annular space is increased to compensate for size of feed pipe. Gravel feed pipe must also extend at least 18 above ground. Ground surface. Well casing must extend at least 18. Above ground surface seal material shall consist of neat cement grout, sand cement grout, bentonite grout, or unhydrated bentonite. Ground surface must slope away from well. Surface casing or open borehole must be at least 41 in diameter larger than the well casing to allow for placement of seal gravel filter pack material and formation, stabilizer. Surface casing must be removed during seal placement. The minimum depth of surface seal is 30 feet. The surface seal must be placed from ground surface to the deepest of the following options as applicable. 1. A minimum depth of 30 feet. 2. From static water level to ground surface in unconsolidated formations. 3. At least 5 feet into a confining unit in clay stratified unconsolidated formations. And 4. At least 5 feet into competent consolidated formation. Casing must be centered in well bore to allow the seal material and gravel filter pack to evenly surround the well. Permanent well casing gravel pack filter material at least 2 annular space. Required for seal, formation, stabilizer, and gravel filter pack material placement. Formation stabilizer well screen, slotted casing. Perforated casing, or open bottom, not to scale note. Unperforated casing must extend at least to a depth of 30 test and below the lowest anticipated pumping level in permeable, unconsolidated, unconfined formations. At least to the bottom of the clay or confining formation above the aquifer in unconsolidated formations stratified with clay, and at least 5 into competent consolidated formation. Co. Appendix 6 Example well schematics. Figure 3. Typical construction of an oversized and/or gravel-packed well with surface casing. Watertight. Sanitary well cover permanent surface casing installed. Surface casing must be at least 4 in diameter larger than well casing. Surface seat must be installed on the outside of the surface casing. Ground surface. Well casing must extend at least 18 above ground surface. Seal material shall consist of neat cement grout, sand cement grout, bentonite grout, or unhydrated bentonite. Ground surface must slope away from well. Annular space between surface casing and well casing must be sealed by welding a watertight cap on the top, or by filling the annulus with approved sealing materials. Borehole must be at least 4 in diameter larger than the surface well casing to allow for placement of seal and gravel filter pack material. Casing must be centered in well bore to allow the seal material and gravel filter pack to evenly surround the well. The minimum depth of surface seal is 30 feet. The surface seal must be placed from ground surface to the deepest of the following options as applicable. 1. A minimum depth of 30 feet. 2. From static water level to ground surface in unconsolidated formations. 3. At least 5 feet into a confining unit in clay stratified unconsolidated formations. And 4. At least 5 feet into competent consolidated formation. At least 2 annular space, required for seal, formation, stabilizer, and gravel filter pack material placement. Formation stabilizer material, gravel filter pack or other state engineer approved material, permanent well casing, gravel pack filter material, well screen, slotted casing, perforated casing, or open bottom, not to scale note. Unperforated casing must extend at least to a depth of 30% feet and below the lowest anticipated pumping level in permeable, unconsolidated, unconfined formations, at least to the bottom of the clay, or confining formation above the aquifer in unconsolidated formations stratified with clay, and at least 5 into competent consolidated formation. Figure 4. Typical construction of an oversized, Appendix 6 Example well schematics, and/or gravel-packed well in stratified units. Ground surface watertight sanitary well cover, gravel filter pack feed pipe may be installed through surface seal if annular space is increased to compensate for size of feed pipe. Well casing must extend at least 18 above ground surface. Seal material shall consist of neal cement grout, sand cement grout, bentonite grout, or unhydrated bentonite. Ground surface must slope away from well. Surface casing or open borehole must be at least 4 in diameter larger than the well casing to allow for placement of seal and surface pack material. Casing must be removed during seal placement. The minimum depth of surface seal is 30 feet. 2. The surface seal must be placed from ground surface to the deepest of the following options as applicable. 1. A minimum depth of 30 feet. 2. From static water level to ground surface in unconsolidated formations. 3. At least 5 feet into a confining unit in clay stratified unconsolidated formations. And 4. At least feet into competent consolidated formation. Undifferentiated overburden annular interval between seal zones can be left open or filled with seal material, formation stabilizer, or gravel filter pack. Casing must be centered in well bore to allow the seal material and gravel filter pack to evenly surround the well. At least 2 annular space required for seal material, formation stabilizer, and gravel pack filter material placement. Water-bearing units containing excessive fines, contaminated or poor quality water must be sealed off from the well. Clay or other confining unit water-bearing unit containing excessive fines, contaminated, poor quality water clay or other confining unit gravel pack filter material or formation stabilizer well screen, slotted casing, perforated casing, or open bottom water-bearing unit containing withdrawable quantities of good quality water permanent well casings. Note: unperforated casing must extend at least to a depth of 30 feet and below the lowest anticipated pumping level in not to scale permeable, unconsolidated, unconfined formations, at least to the bottom of the clay or confining formation above the aquifer in unconsolidated formations stratified with clay, and at least 5 into competent consolidated formation, clay, or other confining unit. Figure 5. Typical construction of a well completed. Appendix 6 Example well schematics, with PVC or non-metallic well casing water. Tight sanitary well cover permanent steel protective surface casing or equivalent covering must be installed to a minimum depth of 2.5 feet when PVC or non-metallic well casing is used. Surface seal must be installed on the outside of the protective surface casing cover. Ground surface steel protective casing and PVC or non-metallic well casing must extend at least 18% above ground surface. Seal material shall consist of neat cement grout, sand cement grout, bentonite grout, or unhydrated bentonite. Ground surface must slope away from well. Annular space between protective surface casing and non-metallic well casing must be sealed by filling the annulus with approved sealing materials. Borehole must be at least 4 in diameter larger than the surface well casing to allow for placement of seal and gravel filter pack material. Casing must be centered in well bore to allow the seal, material, and gravel filter pack to evenly surround the well. The minimum depth of surface seal is 30 feet. 10. Required surface seal depth may differ depending upon geologic conditions and drilling method. See R 655-49.9. Required 655s for specific requirements. At least 2 annular space required for seal formation, stabilizer, and gravel filter. Pack material placement. Formation stabilizer PVC or non-metallic well casing, gravel pack filter material well screen, slotted casing, perforated casing, or open bottom, not to scale note. Unperforated casing must extend at least to a depth of 303 feet, and below the lowest anticipated pumping level, impermeable, unconsolidated, unconfined formations, at least to the bottom of the clay or contining formation above the aquifer, in unconsolidated, formation stratified with clay and at least 5, into competent consolidated formation. Company. Appendix 6 Example well schematics. Figure 7, typical construction of a monitoring well with an above ground surface completion. Figure 8, typical construction of a monitoring well with an flush mount surface completion. Appendix 6, Example well schematics.